Anyway, so I'm not ashamed of the color of my skin, and it sure as fuck ain't a privilege. It's just 8 pounds I wear because your people abuse my people and my people abuse yours until I ended up looking like this and you ended up looking like that, regardless of who you are or who I am. Because reality is that in every sequence of our DNA is the battle scars of rapes and even more brutal reparations. Now, specifically as a Spaniard, I started out black. Yeah, you see, my people were once the Carthaginians. We came from North Africa and spilled into the Iberian Peninsula, racing the Romans for the title of supreme murderers of the Mediterranean after they annexed the Greece, and we harvested the ruins of Persia for their spears. We were outnumbered from the start, but never outsmarted. They had technology, we had tenacity and elephants, but we were squished still 3 times. And by the time they were done with us, we were white. Our slaves switched sides. Those who escaped back to Africa survived with the same skin, but us Spaniards, we were stuck, getting stuck, despite our screams and lost all sense of ourselves. We ran and ran until we settled in the mountains and the desert where we found Jewish kings in Exodus, because by our shared history, sympathy spared us, Jesus Christ. Our spared history shared us the sadism, but not the slavery. We switched religions and eventually assimilated. We had barely settled in before the Moors, who were our brothers before, came raging across the sea to see to it that we had no peace. We tried to run deeper into the mountains. Some of us made it to hide behind a different sea, but most of us were caught and reconverted. They raped us until we turned black again. They chained us to their empire where we built it. They made us scrub our history off their holy places. We dug a shallow grave for everything we'd ever been. And for another 700 years. Another, because between the last time we were Carthaginians and the first time we saw African conquerors on our shores was actually fucking 900 years. And so for another 700 years, we were slaves, subhumans again. And when in 1492, Ferdinand and Isabella kicked out the last of the Moors and set out making sure we got white again, we said never again. And set out for South America, ready to put the last 1,600 years behind us and have slaves of our own in our own new world while we launched an inquisition at home. And that's where it gets strange. Because you'd think 1,600 years would have soured us Spaniards on slavery, but instead, we had our vengeance on an entire hemisphere because it felt good to crack the whip. It felt good to be the ones at last holding the women down and changing their skin and erasing their history. And we're not alone. Because the Portuguese, our lucky brothers who escaped the Moors to hide along that other sea, we subcontracted to them the slavery of every innocent east of the Andes. And meanwhile in England, the Irish and the Scottish were all but working off the sins of their Celtic ancestors. Backwards and forwards through history, it's all the fucking same. We are all rape victims, turn rapists, turn rape victims, turn rapists, rape victims who raped their rapists for just a little while before they raped us back. You see the pattern, so remember the past, so we're not doomed to repeat it, and remember your sins along with your scars. Stop worrying about who made who's slave, and start worrying about ensuring that segregation and subjugation are wiped clean from the face of the earth, like we've all wiped so many tears off our faces.